Here we go again, 29th of October. Really looking forward to getting into these every morning now, just documenting what I've been going through. I wish I'd done it a couple of years ago. No regrets. It's moving forward from here, and on what's happened over the last 24 hours, a few interesting things. I'm identifying that as I'm trying to move forward into keeping positive and keeping upbeat and going with the flow here, that there are certain negative things that are surfacing that I'm feeling like I need to get off my chest. Whether that's a good thing or not, I'm not sure, but rather than holding them in and repressing them, I'm trying to air them. So at the moment I'm by myself in Newcastle, Nick's in Sydney, so we're away from home. But Nick's really the only one around that I have to talk to, so whether it's a good thing or not, I seem to be offloading a lot of that onto her. A lot of it does have to do with us and our communication, and if we're spending the most time together, then obviously a lot of that's going to reflect on how Nick and I are, and I think I'm putting a lot of that back on her. And so we've had a conversation yesterday, the ebbs and flows from finding things that I'm identifying, positivity, moving forward, great things, and then there's certain points in the conversation that we're reflecting on the past, we're bringing up things that we're not happy about, they get heated, and Nick gets quite defensive and argumentative, I think, which I'm sure I come across as doing as well. But I'm feeling good about it in the sense that I'm just trying to get it out and get it off my chest and wash it away. Where I think Nick is still worried that we're not communicating well and all this sort of stuff, but I don't know. I'm speculating. I can't tell her what she's thinking. But what I wanted to drill down about yesterday was looking back on things that are starting to surface. And I'm not sure if I've mentioned this over the last couple of days, but I've sort of identified that growing up, I was picked on and bullied and told that I looked different because of the darkness of my skin, and I was called a gollywog and a chocolate soldier and all these things that really cut to the bone. And I believe it's made me really self-conscious of the way I look and how people perceive me. And it hurts thinking about it. I'm sort of welling up inside, and I could feel it now. And I think I've carried that a lot, and especially into my teenage years where going through puberty and wanting the attention of girls, I've looked at that as the reason why they didn't come to me and I didn't have girlfriends. Looking back now, excuses that I went to a private school, so I wasn't surrounded by girls. That may be true, it may just be an excuse. But more importantly, I put it on the way I looked, and because between 5 and 10 years of age I was picked on so much, I sort of took it as, well, I mustn't be attractive, I must be ugly and different and all this sort of stuff. And I went through with girls becoming friends with them, but them always being attracted to the other guys, and I always put it down to looks. That's my perception of girls being shallow and wanting to look at the attractive guys. I've now come to realise, whether it's just going through these motions, that I think it was about confidence, and I didn't have the confidence that some of these other guys did. Again, that may relate back to going to a private school and not having the confidence to talk to girls and all that sort of stuff. But I found after time that these girls would be hanging out with these other guys or going out with them or doing whatever, and then once they got to know me, they started to like me. So I kept putting that back to, it's about the looks, and they didn't want to look at what was inside until they got to know me. But I'm really starting to identify that it was when I became comfortable around them, my confidence grew, and that's where they started to like me. So it's really started to reassess the way I look at who I am and how I look to other people and how I seem. Now that's also stemmed into alcohol. Drinking through my teenage years, it almost gave me that confidence, and I didn't know it at the time, but by drinking I got that confidence. I then seemed more attractive to other people, and I've attached alcohol to me being confident without me actually knowing that it was confidence that I needed to speak to other people. So I've really been battling over the last few days about not drinking, and it's not because of this confidence thing. It's only yesterday that I sort of realised this, but I haven't had a drink since Friday. It's now Wednesday. That was just purely a weight thing, a money thing, and a discipline thing. I've been a smoker, a drinker, and a gambler for over 20 years, and doing all this coaching stuff and looking and reading and learning, it's sort of talking about discipline and action and doing things, and I've realised that with my addictive personality, I've just fallen back into these traits. So haven't had a cigarette for 2 weeks today, which I'm pretty happy about. I'm very happy about. I haven't had a drink for 5 days. Now, I don't think I'm an alcoholic. I just want to prove to myself that I can be confident and out there without having to have a drink. And then the gambling, that's an interesting one. This is the first year I did the NRL betting, where I made quite a bit of money. That was based on my knowledge and my research, and I looked into the figures and did the maths and all that sort of stuff. There's also horse racing. It's around the time of Melbourne Cup, so I'm enjoying that. But probably the one thing I want to look at is the poker machines. There's no rhyme or reason behind that. I've sort of got a Nick affiliated with them. She enjoys them. And we make the excuse that we just like to sit in front of them and zone out and forget about our problems and forget about the worries of the world and just zone into a screen as if it's sort of taking our mind off everything. I think it's a poor excuse. They don't win us any money. There's no real gratification there. So it's a goal to really drop them off, if not completely, to just, doing it once in a while if I needed to. But there are 3 areas that I want to look on. In relation to goals, what I achieved yesterday, going back to the drinking thing, I've battled every day where I keep coming up with a thought, or I'm sitting here in front of my computer and going, oh geez, you know what, I really wouldn't mind going down the pub for a few beers. Again, don't know why. I get the taste in the mouth. Is it just a habit? Is it procrastination? Is my subconscious mind trying to overtake my success of wanting to fulfill what I want to do and achieve my main goals? So I was looking at it as going to the pub or not going to the pub. And after speaking with Nick, and we sort of talked a few things through, we sort of thought about, well, maybe I shouldn't be looking at it as drinking or not drinking. It's finding something else that I want to do instead of drinking. So I started really getting into this book by Corey Snow, the life coach, which I'm loving and really engulfed in. And I've been feeling guilty over the last couple of days because I've been spending time reading but not getting started on the books and the questions and working on training and making some money. So rather than balancing the reading with the other goals, I'm going to balance the reading with the drinking. So instead of drinking, so going out at 5 o'clock in the evening and coming back at 8 o'clock in the evening, spending $100, $150, I'm going to spend those 3 hours reading. So get the enjoyment that I think I should be getting out of drinking and put it into reading. So I'm not feeling guilty about the other thing. So that also reflects on how I've achieved my mini goals, and I don't want to make this as an excuse as every day I set these mini goals and then the following day I come back and say, oh, well, I'm really pleased that I did other things but I didn't achieve my mini goals. Yesterday I wanted to get started writing the questions for the coaching books, the interview questions, and I didn't have time, or that's an excuse actually. I found my time being spent in other areas. So as long as it's good, positive achievements that I'm getting through each day, it's a step-by-step process. So then we had 2 webinars last night, one with Sharon Pearson, one with Matt Lavaz. The frustrating part with both of them, I found going back to my days of doubt and skepticism and questioning what's going on. The first seminar was with Sharon. The good part was the screen was fixed on the Facebook page, so you could see the group making comments and references, and then Sharon was there talking and chatting and talking about different skills, and it's just all about sitting there spending an hour with her. She continued over and over again to make comments about people sending messages in. I'm not as frustrated as what I usually was, but there was a little level of frustration that I had an hour with her to listen to what she had to say, and I found that continuously, over and over and again, she kept making reference to either the posts on Facebook or the messages she was receiving through the webinar. Where my frustration lies is she'd make a comment about a comment that was made through the webinar. We didn't know what the comment was, but it was like she was directly talking to the person that made the comment. So over the hour, it felt like half an hour was spent with her making comments to other people, which made no reference to anyone else. So if there was a content for about half an hour, the other half an hour was spent on, oh yeah, that's great, thanks, thanking everyone for writing and laughing and telling jokes and all this sort of stuff. I didn't make any comments, partly because I felt like that was what was holding back Sharon from being able to say what she wanted to say, so I kept quiet. I knew at the time she encourages people making comments. I also questioned why the Facebook page was there, and is this a marketing ploy of the more people that post comments on the site through the webinar, the more Facebook loves her interaction on the page. So at the end of the webinar, I think there was something like 192 comments and 30 odd likes. So to Facebook see this Facebook page is getting so much traffic that it gets boosted up. So kudos if that's a great marketing ploy. But I want to get told about it. I want to get told that this is part of the reason why it's done. And the reciprocity is if we do it with her, then you pass that down, and then other people do it for you, and so on and so forth. But we then moved into the second webinar with Matt Lavaz. This was first stages of getting started as a coach. Quite informative, really great. He had 3 strategies. The first one was be open to new ways of thinking. So making mistakes, make as many mistakes as you can. It was reflecting on when you're a baby. Imagine if you knew what you knew now, would you ever have gotten up and walked? Would fear have taken over and stopped you from learning how to walk? Because back then you knew no boundaries. So you just got up and tried. You'd fall down, you get back up and try. You'd fall down, you get back up and try. Great. That first one was very basic and simple. The second one was small goals. So start out with small goals. Don't have this massive, great, big goal that you want to have 100 clients and making $1 million a year within the next 12 months. Break it down into little small steps and small chunks. I looked at it as the analogy I came up with was a pretty basic one. I came up with it. It's fairly straightforward. Is around the golf. Your goal, obviously, over the 18 holes is to get the lowest score as you possibly can. You then break that round of golf into 18 holes. So you've got 18 smaller goals within the whole round. And then in each hole, you've got a certain number of shots that you want to achieve that you'll get through to score on that hole. So the mini goal is focusing on each individual shot. Practicing, you're having your practice swing, and then you eventually get to hit the ball or putt the ball or do whatever it is you've got to do. To perfect that one swing and then move on to the next one. So you're not thinking about where you're putting from the tee, so on and so forth. And the third one, how good is my memory? Networking. Hang around people that are going to influence you and improve on you. Don't hang around people that are less than you, and I don't think less than you is the right word to use or phrase. But they were the 3 basic things. And then the learning strategies. These were really, really good. He offered 3 learning strategies. The first one being learn it, read it, watch it, do whatever it is to take the information in. The second one is use it within 24 hours, which I thought was very powerful. And people making comments, and a really good comment that I heard. Hang on, someone's here.